Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing this look for you. I asked on my various social platforms, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, what you guys wanted to see. This is what I came up with using all your suggestions. I pretty much compiled it all into one video. You guys wanted to see a look, but also more in depth on my facial oils, what I do when I'm mixing that with foundation, and also my lips on how I make them look really nice and full, and just in general the signature look that I've been wearing. You guys really wanted to see. This is a really easy makeup look to do. It honestly will take you no time at all to do, though this video is going to be quite long just because I just filmed it, and I know it's going to be long because I go into detail about every little bit of my makeup routine. So if you want to see how I created this look and all my tips and tricks on how to create a flawless finish, full lips, then just keep watching. Before I start applying any makeup, I always start off with my Zoeva Essential Lip Enhancer. This is a conditioning treatment, and if you continue to use this over time, your lips will become more full and you'll have less lines in your lips, so it clinically is proven to plump your lips. I've only ever applied this once a day, and it's made my lips softer and fuller over time. So this is definitely, I'd say, one of my top 3 beauty products ever is this lip enhancer. And then going into oil on my face, I do my skincare in the morning, which is #1 most important thing to do is your skincare both morning and night. If you don't have a good skincare routine, your makeup's not going to lay nicely on your skin. So #1 is always skincare. And then for oil, I had a request to go into how I put oil on my skin to show the full routine of what I do prior to foundation. And for today's video, I'm using the Versali Rose Gold Elixir. The main ingredient in this is rosehip seed oil. You do not need to buy this specific oil. I, in fact, make my own beauty oils, and I don't have too much left in here. I was thinking that if you guys want to see how I create my own DIY beauty oil, I can do a video just on that, but because I can't really tell you in this video, and you can go out and buy it right now, what's in my beauty oil, I'm just going to use my Versali. I know this is pretty popular, but the main ingredient is rosehip seed oil. I'm almost done mine, and I purchased the ordinary rosehip seed oil, which is a cold pressed organic rosehip seed oil, and that's only $9.90 on Sephora Canada. So I would recommend purchasing that if you're looking just for regular rosehip seed oil. You do not have to buy this Versali one, which I think is $67 Canadian, so it's really pricey. I put 3 drops on my skin. This has vitamin E in it, which I do find thickens the oil, which I personally prefer for my skin. My cheeks are the most dry, so I like to apply it there. And then I just kind of bring it to the center of my face. There's not a set amount of time that I wait with this on my face. If I'm using a stick foundation, which I find really convenient for an everyday kind of makeup, if you want something really quick and easy to do, I go in pretty much right away. And when I'm just applying liquid foundation, typically me finding my foundation, going to wet my beauty blender is the time it takes me to have it set into my skin. So it's not too long, but I do like to use a little bit more oil if I'm going in with a stick foundation for my dry skin, and just 3 drops if I'm doing liquid. So I have my beauty sponge wet and ready to go. And then I'm going to be using my favorite foundation of the year, which was the Dior Forever Skin Perfect Foundation. And I have 21 and 10. I'm going to be mixing the two. It's a 2-to-1 ratio for this. So every 2 drops of my 10, I put in 1 drop of my 21. And that gets my natural skin shade. I don't have any self-tan on right now. And this is my favorite foundation, so I figured I would show you what this looks like on my skin. This is a really quick makeup look to do. It's not hard at all. Because I'm going to be explaining the steps I take, it's going to take a little bit longer. This might actually be quite a long video. But as you can see, when I initially apply my oil, my cheeks get a little bit red. My skin is very sensitive to touch, but now it's kind of calmed down. So I'm good to go for applying my foundation. And you do want to shake this foundation up quite well. I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to apply this to my face. I do find you get more coverage if you use a brush with this foundation, and I definitely use less when I'm using a brush. Brush is also a little bit quicker, but I do want a more glowy look to my skin. This is a soft matte finish, but I'm going to go for more of a glow today. For concealer, I'm going to go ahead and use my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Creme Brulee. And this is the shade that I use when I'm my natural skin color, like today. And the best way to apply this is just putting your sponge right in there, getting a nice thin layer, and just dabbing it underneath the eyes. These two products play so nicely together, the foundation and this concealer. And when I'm having more of an issue with my pores, the Fenty primer works amazing with the Dior foundation. So I just wanted to quickly mention that, because a lot of times I will use that primer for my pores, but they're not too bad today. This does a nice job at brightening. I'm also going to put it on my lid, conceal the veining I have. You can see I have a lot of purple veins in my lid. Next, I'm going to set my under eye in place before it creases. If you start getting any kind of creases with your concealer, just go ahead and blend that out first before you set it with powder, otherwise you're going to be setting creases. So I'm taking my Fenty Beauty Universal Blotting Powder and a MAC 133 brush. And this really does help with pores as well, so I'm going to bring it down the side of my nose as well as under my eye to set. And then whatever is left over, I just take over my lid. And I also like to set my T-zone. I'm not going to set my whole face. I do have dry skin, as I said. If you need to set your whole face, go right ahead, but I don't need it. To bronze up my skin and just bring more life back to my face because it looked pretty flat right now, I'm going to use my Marc Jacobs bronzer in Tan-Tastic. This was limited edition, but they're bringing it back this summer. If you don't happen to have this bronzer, I wanted to come up with some dupes in a video for you guys, so I figured I'd do it in this one. I don't have anything that's a 100% perfect match, but I do have two products that are pretty close. And this is a very neutral bronzer. But if you have the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette in Dulce de Leche, the contouring side on this is actually quite comparable. It's a touch more cool tone, so I understand if you don't want to bronze up your whole face with that, though I think it works nicely. And then one of my favorite bronzers is Palm Island from Ciate London, and it's just a touch more warm. But these are so close in terms of their depth. I can just tell very slight variations in the tone of it, but on my face, honestly, you wouldn't be able to tell. So those two I definitely recommend if you don't have this. But creating the look you guys wanted to see, this is what I wore. So I'm just taking my Tom Ford bronzer brush and bronzing up my face. I don't do contour too much. I do like a bronze contour. So always make sure to bring it down your neck just to tie in the color. Then always for an everyday simple quick makeup, I don't do any sort of eyeshadow. I just take whatever bronzer I'm using, and I'm using a NYX 16 brush, which is an amazing synthetic crease brush. And I just put a little bit in the crease. We have set the eye with some powder, so it's not going to have any kind of skipping when you put this in your crease. And that's just going to give a little bit of depth to the eye. If you look at my face right now, it's bronzed around the perimeter, and then right in here it looks really white and light. So you either, if you don't have a lot of time or you don't like contouring your nose, just put your bronzer brush a little bit just to add some depth so your nose doesn't kind of get lost in the center portion of your face. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I quickly contour. This is one of my top favorite brushes of all time. It's from Zoeva. It's their 109 Luxe Face Paint Brush. And I don't know where I'd be without this brush. It's so amazing. So I just take the length of it in my bronzer. This is nice and neutral to cool tones, so you can definitely contour with this product, or either of the other two options that I showed you. The Ciate or the Wet n Wild work nicely for this as well. So it's pretty much, I just do the length of my nose. Do it slightly up, connecting the brow, and slightly down. So you can see that right there. We'll blend it out. And then just do the same thing with the other side. I do just a little bit on the bottom to shorten. And depending on your nose, you might not want to do this. I like to just take a little bit across the bridge of my nose. It does a little dip out there, and I just like accentuating that part of my nose. To help pinch the nose, the best thing to do is use a loose powder. And I like to bake the sides of my nose. This really makes a difference. Granted, if I didn't have a lot of time, I wouldn't do this, but I do love doing this. So I'm gonna show you what I do. Take a little bit of powder down the bridge. I don't put any over top of that line we created. I just put like a little bit on the tip to bake that. And then I take my dampened beauty blender that we've been using for our foundation, a bit of powder, and I just drag it down the side of my nose like that. And this is just going to help pinch the nose to make it look a little bit smaller. You can see where the contour is and where that baking powder is. When you sweep it all away, it kind of blends into that contour as well. It's not going to look like two lines. And if it does look a little bit harsh, you can always go back with your beauty blender and just soften the edges. As soon as I started doing this baking technique with my nose, that's when really my contour started looking its best, I think. Taking that extra little step if you like doing a nose contour, just wanted to share what I do. Not everyone is going to want to take these extra steps, so you can just kind of stop wherever you want. Sometimes I just do that bronzer just to bring it so that it's not white all in the center of my face. And that's all I'll do. I'm gonna go ahead and do my blush. And these are my favorite blushes of all time. They're from Charlotte Tilbury, and they're their Cheek to Chic blushers. And this is in the color Sex on Fire. And I'm just going to use that brush that we used to set our under eye, the MAC 133. Just gonna swirl this all together and just do a little bit on my cheeks. Anytime I put blush on, I feel like it's too much. I'm not a blush type person, so I usually go back with my beauty blender and just soften it up a bit. Before I highlight my face, I'm just gonna dust off that powder that's been baking. So I want to highlight my nose. And baking my nose is really important because if you're anything like me, I find that the foundation and concealer always slips and slides from that area. And once I started baking that area of my nose, I haven't had any issues. So I don't really bake that often underneath my eyes, my face. It's just my nose. I really do find that it helps. And then for my highlight, I'm going to be using the Pop Beauty Gilded Light Prismatic Pop Highlighter. I have a Zoeva Luxe Powder Fusion. This is the 134 brush. I often use this for my crease color. I'm going to use it for highlight today. So do a little bit on my cheeks. Usually hit the brow bone as well. Then Cupid's bow, tip of the nose, down the bridge. Sometimes I just take my finger and do a little bit so it's more concentrated. Depends on how glowy I want to be. Everyday makeup, I don't wear lashes, but I am recreating that look that you guys wanted to see, so you can go and do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to show you what I do for both in this video because I wanted to try and get as many little tips and favorite products as I could. But if I'm not wearing false lashes, I always like to take a priming base product. I've been using this one from Maybelline. It's their Big Shot Colossal base. And this has fibers in it, so it really lengthens your lashes. And I often wear this just by itself for an everyday look. I love this. Essentially, this is an everyday look for me. Just the tinted priming base for the mascara and just a lip balm on my lips. I like how that looks, but I want to do the lashes in the lip color just because I feel like it is really a signature kind of look and you guys wanted to see it. And then going ahead and using my Voluminous Lash Paradise. And then that is how the mascara looks like. And I will be putting a little bit on my lower lashes. Sometimes I don't bother doing that either. It really depends on how much you want to put on. I don't really think when I'm doing this look, I just kind of go for what I feel like. Sometimes I use a pore filling primer, other times I skip it, like today. It really depends. And the lashes I'm going to be wearing are the Lily lashes in Miami. These are pretty dramatic lashes. So this is like my glam everyday makeup, because I honestly feel like adding whatever style of lash really just mixes up the look. You can start with this base of makeup and this be your starting point for pretty much anything, and the look's gonna totally change depending on what lashes you wear or what lip color you do. But this is my base. This is like my perfect everyday kind of base. And then when you're not doing any liner, you really have to be careful about applying the lashes, because you can get a gap in between your lashes and your faux lashes. So I do have a lash applicator tool that really helps if you want to pinch them together. You can be really careful and use tweezers. I used to do that before I had a lash applicator tool. You could use your fingers. You don't have to get too precise with it, but you definitely have to be a little bit more mindful when you're applying lashes without any kind of liner. I use the Socialized Lash Glue. It's my favorite. You don't really have to wait for it to dry too much. It's like instant, which is nice. So I go center, the outer corner of my eye, and then I really like to hold that inner. That always presents the most problems. I find lashes are always better the second or third or whatever time you wear them, because they're already formed to your eye. So they go on a lot easier. So that looked essentially like nothing because they have been formed to my eye already. Really helps if they're brand new lashes to loosen up the band. Work it a bit, be gentle depending on the lash you use, because some bands can be quite delicate. But definitely making a bend to it really helps, because then it will stick better to your eye. Center, outer, that's already sticking down, and then I like to hold that inner. And voila! It went on my eyes perfectly. So I don't even have to do the pinching. Then I always kind of push my lashes into the lashes. I know some people, they like to do mascara after to blend. That definitely affects how many times you can wear your lashes if you are to do that. And I like to get my money's worth, so I do not do that personally, but it definitely does help blend. I just find I'm not too worried about it, as long as I curl my lashes, because that can be a dead giveaway if my lashes are sticking straight out without a curl to them. So as long as I do this, I'm usually pretty good. Then for lips, all I'm going to be using is MAC Spice Lip Pencil. My Jouer Lip Enhancer has essentially just sunken into my lips at this point. But if I still had some, I would just blot it away. And then I was asked how I line my lips, and I overdraw them quite a bit. So I don't like to overdraw the corners too much. You like to keep that along your lip line, or at least I do. And then if you're going to overdraw, I like to about halfway up. It's hard to talk and do this. Halfway up, just start to lightly overdraw, and then bring it back in. So a little bit over, and then bring it in. And just kind of play around with it, seeing how much I want to go over. But I always do bringing in motion when I'm overlining. And I do find it easier to go from top to bottom. Some people like going up. You can just play around with it and see what works best for you. But I do like to typically start from my Cupid's bow. Cupid's bow. I don't even know what I said there. And just go in like that. And then the same thing goes for the bottom lip, except I just overline right here, and then I'll bring it back in. For this look, this is all I wore on my lips. So I'm just gonna fill in my lips. I feel like this would be a really good Valentine's Day look too. Because these lip pencils, they don't feel like they're anything on your lips. That technique and this lip color especially makes my lips look really full. Another trick you can do for full lips to help. What you do is just take any kind of lighter color and put it on the center of your lips. That's going to help make your lips look a lot fuller. If you like nude lips and you don't have this from MAC, you need it. This is the MAC lip mix and it's just a white lip mix. This is going to last you forever. You don't need very much of this. Like, you can barely see that on my finger. And just tap that on the center. It's just going to help with making them look fuller. Gloss also makes your lips look really nice and full. This is just the tricks I do for a matte lip. Then to finish everything off, I really love the Glam Glow Glow Setter. And I also feel like this gives me a bit more dew to my skin as well as it sets my makeup. And this has the best spray. It's so fine and soft. Sometimes I want to do more. I'll just give my cheeks an extra little spray. And that is it. So here is my signature makeup look as of lately, my go-to, using all my favorite products and all my favorite techniques to get this look. I asked you guys what you wanted to see, and this is the look you wanted to see me recreate. You wanted something easy, you wanted this exact look, you wanted to see how I did my oils and also my lips. So I hope this helped a lot of you out on all the little tips and tricks I do to get my makeup the way I like to wear it. If you have any more suggestions on content or things you want to see more in depth of, please let me know in the comment section below. I take all your guys' suggestions to heart and I try to do a whole look using so many people's suggestions of what they wanted to see. So I hope this helped a lot of you out in creating this look. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.